Hello friends, welcome to Shiksharthi. In this video, we'll be solving questions of exercise 5.4 on arithmetic progressions. So let's start. Now talking about question number 1, it says which term of the arithmetic series or the progressions 121, 117, 121, 117, the next term here is 113, and they are asking for which first term would be a negative one. So we'll be using few formulas throughout, and one of them is the nth term is equal to t1 plus n minus 1 into d, and the commonly used sum for n terms is equal to n by 2 of 2a plus n minus 1 into d. So the question here is which first term of this arithmetic series would be a negative term. The best way to attempt this question here is, now we know that t1 is equal to 121. There are many ways, but the best way of attempting this question here is do as I am doing. So first term is 121, the common difference here is minus 4, and you need to find out that term which is equal to a 0. This is how you would think. So you have to find out a term which is equal to a 0, and there may be a possibility that there may not be a term here which comes out to be a 0. For that, let me first find out the nth term. So the nth term works out to be t1, which is 121, plus n minus 1 into d, which is minus 4. So when you solve this, you'll be getting this as 125 minus 4n. Now start taking multiples of this. Which is the closest multiple? Because if I want to find out any term which is equal to a 0, that will never happen, because any term of the series which had to be a 0, for that this should be equal to a 125. But the moment you cannot have a number which is an integer multiple of 4 and which is 125. But from here you get a hint. The hint here is, if I subtract 124 from here, this is the last positive term that you will have. This is the last positive term that you would have. Meaning thereby, now what is 124? Can I say this is nothing but 4 into 31? That means first term to the 31st term. All these terms would be positive, and the first term which will be negative would be the 32nd term. And that term would be how much? So if I subtract a 4 from here, the 32nd term would be minus 3. This is the answer. Okay, moving on to question number 2. So question number 2 says the sum of the third and the seventh terms of an arithmetic progression is 6. The third and the seventh. So the third and the seventh term is equal to a 6 of an arithmetic series. Okay, their product is 8. Find the sum of first 16 terms of the AP. Their product is 8. So we are saying basically t1 into t2 is equal to an 8, and t3 into t7 is equal to an 8, and t3 plus t7 is equal to a 6. Okay. So if I want to guess an answer, maybe can I guess the right answer? 1 plus 5. Now this is 1 plus 5. I'm assuming that this arithmetic series is formed out of natural numbers or is formed out of integers. This is how you would start this question. So 1 plus 5 is 6, but 1 into 5 is not 8. 2 plus 4 is 6. 2 into 4 is 8. Oh, gives me a fair enough idea. So maybe somewhere by the side I can write down one of them is a 3, one of them is a 2, and the other term is a 4. This can be the other way around also. That is something which is very difficult to ascertain from here. I hope you are getting my point. My point here is, maybe t3 is 4 and t7 is 2. Vis-a-vis, t3 could be 2 and t7 is 4. But the product in any case will be 8. And then you have to find out the sum for first 16 terms. So if I write down the formula, the sum for first 16 terms will be how much? This will be 16 by 2, which is 8, times of t1 plus t15, t16 is what you are going to write down. Okay. Now once you have this with you, Now here, how do I solve this? So I'll have to make a quadratic equation here. Though broadly I know that these may be the values. I mean, one of them has to be a 2 and the other one has to be a 4. In case if this arithmetic series had to be an integer series or a series formed out of natural numbers. Okay, so now if I say a plus b is equal to 6 and then I know that a is equal to 8 by b, I can make a quadratic equation from here and I can say that b plus 8 by b is equal to a 6, which further goes on and which will say that b square minus 6b plus 8 is equal to a 0, given that b should not be equal to a 0, because otherwise it will no longer remain a rational expression. Now if I had to solve this, how will I solve this? I will say b minus 4 into b minus 2 is equal to a 0. So from here you will get the value of b as 4 or 2. Now what is b here? So let's say we assumed T3 as a and T7 as b. So if one of them is 4, the other has to be 2. If the other is 4, the second one has to be 2. Okay, so what is the series that I get from here? Am I able to get some series from here? Let's try and find it out. So now if I have to write this as, we know that T3 can be written as T1 plus 2D. Let's say we have taken it as a 4. And then this can be written as T1 plus 6D. So this we'll get it as 2. Now if I subtract this, let's say the first equation from the second one, how much do I get? Or let's say the second equation from the first one, I get minus 4d is equal to 2. So from here we get the value of d as minus 1 by 2. This is one case that you get from here. Okay, now I could have taken it the other way around. So now once I get the value of d as minus 2, can I get the value of t1? So when I take the value of t1 from here, so t1 will be 4 minus 2d and 2d is 1. So the arithmetic series that I get from here is, first term is 5, the next term becomes, you keep on subtracting half. So this becomes 4 and a half. Next becomes 4. Next becomes 3 and a half. And so on. So this is, we keep on writing it like this. Now when I see, now what do I see from here? So let me first write down most of the terms here so that I can write down till the 7th term. So 3, the next is 2 and a half, the next term is 2, and thereon. So first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7th. Let's focus on the 7th and let's focus on the third term. I mean, you could have changed the values. In that case, the AP changes, and then if I move from left side to the right hand side and if the common difference is negative, similarly, if you're moving from the right hand side to the left hand side, the common difference becomes positive. So the next series that you could have formed here was, you can just take the mirror image of the series. You can just invert the series. I mean, left to right becomes right to left. So do not be concerned about the second value that you could have taken for B, which is 2 or any other. Now we have to find out the sum for first 16 terms. So we know the formula. Sum for first 16 terms is 8 times of, what is the value of T1 from here? 5. What is the value of Tn, which is the 16th term? You don't have, so you can find it out. T16 will be 5 plus n minus 1, which is 15, into minus 1 by 2. So how much does this work out to? So can I say this is nothing but 10 by 2, and this becomes minus 5 by 2. And this further can be written as 10 by 2. How much is 10 minus 5 by 2? This is 5 by 2 only, of 8. So can I say this is 20? So by the time I am reading the question once again, please check that the way in which I have done, is the answer correct or not, or this is only half of it. Okay, so let's see. This is the value that you got when you had taken the value of the third term as 4. Now if I would have taken the value of the third term, so which is T1 plus 2D, as 2, in that case the 7th term would have been a 4. And I do the same, I subtract this equation from this. So what do I get? I get minus 4D is equal to minus 2. So from here you are getting an increasing AP. Thereby you will say that in this case you got a decreasing AP. In the next case you are getting an increasing AP, wherein 5 by 2, 6, 7, 6 and a half, then 7, then 7 and a half, then 8, and so on. But the point here is, when you are taking this series here, again you need to get what? You need to get the values correct. Which values are we talking about? How did we get this series? Because when you are getting this series, this you would have got the series, you are borrowing it from here. So we can't take this series. Let us come back again. So when you are coming back again, when I take the value of d as half, in that case the first term works out to be 2 minus 2d, which is just like saying how much is 2d? 1. So 1, then the common difference is 1 half. So next term is 1 and a half. Next 2, next 2 and a half, next 3, next 3 and a half, next 4, next 4 and a half. Let's focus on the third term and the seventh term. Third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Is the sum 6? Yes. Is the product 8? Yes. What is the sum for first 16 terms? So I can use the formula, this formula, which is 8 times of 2a, which is 2, plus n minus 1, which is 15, into d, which is half. And this I could have written it as 4 by 2. So how much does this work out to? This works out to be 19 by 2 into 8, which is just like saying 76. So how much is the answer here? Answer is 20 or 76. Let's move on to the next question, which is question number 3. Now question number 3 says, there is a ladder which has rungs which are 25 centimeter apart. The rungs decrease uniformly in length from 45 centimeter at the bottom to 25 centimeter at the top. If the top and the bottom rungs are 2.5 meter apart, what is the length of the wood required for the rungs? Okay, let me draw this figure horizontally. So I am placing the ladder horizontally, and let's say these are the rungs. And it says, let's say this is, the ladder has these many rungs. The rungs decrease uniformly if the top and the bottom. So let's take this as the top side, and let's take this as the bottom side. So here the rungs are 25 centimeter apart. Okay, and then it further says, from here to here, when I talk about from here to here, the length here is 250 centimeters, and the distance between any two successive, these are the successive. So let's say, now this was the first, let's say these are two successive terms. So the distance between two successive terms is how much? 25 centimeters. So how many terms would we have here? Can I say, if the distance between the first and the second is 25, so how many terms would we have here? So let's put it like this. Now I'm just drawing it here. Now I'm taking it as a point object. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is how the total distance comes out to be. And the distance between every point object. So let's say this is the first term. This is, here it was the last term. So let's say the last term, then the second last term, the third last term. So how many such terms do you require? So this is my first, second, third, fourth, fifth term, sixth term, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th. So the total and the distance between every term is 25 centimeters. Okay. Now once you know this, that the total distance here is how much? 25 centimeter. So can I, now I know that what is the length of the first rung. Let's say here it was the bottommost. What is the length here? The length was starting off with a 45. So the length there was 45. So starting off with a 45 centimeter. So 45 followed by something, and then the topmost rung had 25 centimeters. So do I know the common difference between them? I do not know the common difference between them, but then I know that the distance, so the amount of wood that I am using here. So one is what? Let me first talk about the amount of wood that I have used here, and then talking about the amount of wood that I would have used in the rungs. So, and what am I supposed to find out? What is the length of the wood required for the rungs? Okay. So now talking about this wood, I mean which would connect one rung to the other rung. In that case, it comes out to be how much? So the sum for first 11 terms comes out to be 11 by 2. And here it is just like saying that you are having every term for 25, 25, 25. So why are we even writing this formula here? So in that case, what is the total wood length that I would have used here? The total wood that would be required for the rungs, it says. We are not supposed to find out the wood length which is required here. So now this is the first rung, this is the second rung, this is the third rung, this is the fourth rung, and so on. We need to find out. So we know that the first term is, so can we use this formula and find out the common difference between them? Yes. So the common difference comes out to be 25. So the last term, so let's say if I could take it from any of the sides. So if I'm starting from the bottom to the topmost, or I start from the topmost to the bottom, does not make any difference. From one end the common difference would be negative, from the other end the common difference would be positive. Okay. So here talking about the 11th one, which is the topmost one, 25 centimeter minus the bottommost, which is 45 centimeter, divided by n minus 1, which is 10. So this comes out to be minus 2. So sum of 11 terms will be equal to n by 2, which is 11 by 2, times of 2a. So we are talking about which is the first one here. So we start off with the bottom one. So the first one was 45 centimeters. So this becomes 90 plus n minus 1, which is 10, into d. So can I say this is nothing but 70 into 11 by 2, which can be further written as 35 into 11, and this further on can be written as 385 centimeters. Please check that whatever we have solved, is it correct or not? I mean, have we done it correctly or have we made some silly mistake? Check while we are moving on to the next question. I hope it is fair enough, because whatever concept we had taken, once you understand the problem conceptually, there is no scope unless you make a silly mistake.